Good morning. About to fire up episode 8, continuation of the work we did yesterday, with a lot of help from the chat, putting together an all-time rookie team. So we will be finalizing the roster and then putting the team together in OOTP 25. So to do that, we need to get their player IDs from baseballreference.com. So let's get the game up. So we are going to create a new game, new historical game. Um, yeah, so I think we're going to just bring all these rookies from across time into 2024. I just want to see how they do in the current run environment. So, or I guess 2023. You can see how often I play in the current year. I think it is interesting when people start in 2023 and then play forward. Um, I can see how that would be fun. I also wonder how well the game engine actually like produces future prospects and stuff. And um, but I just haven't. I've always kind of looked backwards, so this will be my first time actually simming in the current year. So this will be fun. Okay, so we're gonna just do a 1 year sim. We have injuries off, so I'm not gonna worry about minor leagues. We won't do expansion. So the real question is going to be, um, what team do we use? So this is all-time greats rookies and 2023 run environment. So I will thank you, Ripley the Oriole, for the raid. I appreciate it. Welcome everybody. So yeah, what we're doing is I do all kinds of different time travel experiments in the base game. One of the recurring things I've been doing is taking the 1986 Mets and replacing all the historic Mets teams started with 1962 to see how much better they can do than 40 and 120 or whatever terrible record they had that year. Then we played a game I called Revisionist History, where I have a menu of options I can use to improve teams, and we took the 97 Mariners to see if we can win the World Series with them. And then, so right now I'm doing a game I call All Time Greats. So I pick a topic. It's kind of like a theme team. And the one I chose for this one is All Time Great Rookies. So the best rookie seasons from across baseball history. And chat was really helpful last night in putting together kind of the longer list. And then I've narrowed it down to the short list and the final roster. So I'm going to finalize the roster, pull some stats from Baseball Reference to show kind of why those seasons and why those players, and then pull those players into the game and do a sim. That's right. Yep. Yep. Nolan was part of it, doing the prep work, so that was a lot of fun. I did find a second baseman. I'd be interested to see everyone's reactions, because it's not a person who had a long career. It was basically like a half season, but the stat line was impressive. But let me set this up first, and then we'll get into that. So I was managed as Mochi Mitsushi and Japanese. Commissioner mode cannot be fired. Yeah, so second base is a position that was a little weak. I was actually hoping that Jackie Robinson to play second base in his rookie year, so that I could put him at second, but he only played first that year. Dustin Pedroia, on a recommendation from chat, was our leading candidate, and he did have a really good rookie season. Um, but I'll show you guys who I found and I might go with in a little bit here. So The big question here is I don't want to add a team because then that causes all kinds of difficulties having to create a schedule. So I was going to try to figure out what team I want to replace. And I'll just replace that team with our all-star team. And I think I'll change their team name too to a franchise time machine team. If anyone in the chat has suggestions, but I was basically gonna try to figure out which of the worst teams in the league do I want to just maybe replace. So I was just gonna do a quick. Let me share my BREF screen here. Get rid of the get rid of the A's, even their own. That's actually not a bad idea. Maybe we'll just preemptively let's do that. We'll preemptively take them out of the league. Um, with apologies to Dr. Dynastic, we will manage the A's and take them out. All right. So the first thing we'll do is let's just clear out their roster because we're gonna. Maybe I'll just instead of deleting them, maybe I'll just release. So here's what I was thinking. If I release them, the players will be free to sign with other teams, and it might still be cool to see them wandering around the majors. Um, but then I think it might disrupt a lot of other team rosters, and I do just kind of want to see how this team does in the season without all that change. So I think I'm gonna just delete everybody. So let's go to our roster. So yeah, this is just one of the many ways I played base game for over a decade before discovering Perfect Team. So if you want to say your goodbyes, I'm about to delete these folks. Active roster, reserve roster. Okay, and then we'll import into here. Um, so the way to import players is via the free agent pool. So I'm going to go there, but the other thing I need to do is um, so the way to do this is by actions import historical players from the database. The quickest and easiest way to do it is actually to use this here, the click select files. So I'm just going to create a Word or Notepad document that I'm going to put everyone's player ID numbers into, but I'm going to have to get those numbers from Baseball Reference. So let me pull up my Baseball Reference screen. Okay, here's the BREF screen. Hold on, let me resize it a little bit before I put it up. Okay, this is what I was going to look at to figure out who to cut, but the idea to cut the A's is brilliant. I like that a lot, so we're going to go with that. And then the other screen I will pull up once I find it here is I created a Google sheet that just has kind of the almost final list. I think there's about 30 folks on it. It's not quite down to 25. But I was going to make those final cuts tonight too. Sorry, bear with me here. I also turned off my VTube Studio because I was having a lot of problems with lag last night from my system. So you will not see the Mr. Mochi VTube avatar tonight. So I'm sure you're all very disappointed. Um, okay, so let me share this Google Sheet. Where is it? Google Sheet. There it is. Okay. So the second baseman I found is Keston Hira. And I kind of wish D Block was on here because I always give him a hard time because he used to play him a lot despite his 40 something defense at second base. And now I find myself in a situation where I'm actually thinking about adding him to this team. Um, so before you jump all over me about this, let me pull up his rookie stat line here. Yes, Ripley. I created a backdrop that is based on Kiner's Corner, the old Kiner's Corner set from the Mets post game shows, and then I have a VTube avatar that's Mr. Mochi, um, who kind of has like a big head that looks like a baseball, but of course has nothing to do with Mr. Met. Um, so yeah, so he played about a half season in his rookie year. Um, 84 games, 48 plate appearances, so roughly half a season, in which he hit 23 doubles, 19 bombs, 303 average, 938 OPS. So from a kind of productivity standpoint, it's one of the best second baseman rookie seasons. Um, and I did say the whole premise is I want this to be the best rookie seasons ever, but I do struggle a little bit with like he had a short career. He wasn't very productive in his other seasons, um, but in some ways he doesn't fit in, but in a lot of ways it is like the kind of season I'm looking for. So um, I may actually bump Pedroia for him. And then a couple of seasons I found after the chat yesterday that we didn't discuss, but I think I'm going to put into the roster are Rudy York at catcher. So I'm going to pull him up here in a second. Here's Rudy York's stats. So in his rookie year with Detroit, shout out to Spore, um, in 104 games, 35 home runs, 307 average, 1026 OPS. It's one of the best kind of best stat lines for a rookie catcher ever. So leaning towards putting him in a catcher and then probably using Piazza as the backup. Uh, Unfortunately, they both bat righty, so I can't do a platoon with them. That was the other thing I was thinking about. It's like, can I find a catcher platoon, a rookie catcher platoon that would work? Um, and then the other player was Shoeless Joe Jackson, who did not come up last night. Oh, Sparky Shane weighing in with Lou Whitaker. So I did look at Whitaker. I'll pull his stats up again. And Whitaker's more of like the profile I was expecting because his rookie season started off a great career. Um, but when I look at the productivity, it's just a lot lower. And so, if I were to kind of blindfolded look at the two seasons, and granted, with Keston Hira, like his defensive stats are not reflecting there at all, and they're going to be terrible, especially compared to someone like Lou Whitaker. But I think just given the premise, you know, I don't even think I don't think I could even take Whitaker over Pedroia, just because like if you look at their rookie seasons in a vacuum, Pedroia's is better. But I appreciate the recommendation, and I'm all ears. Like even though like I'm close to the final list, I'm definitely open to suggestions. Oh yeah, right. So I was gonna pull up Shoeless Joe's stats. So Shoeless Joe Jackson. All right. And based on some helpful suggestions from last night, I'm trying to close all the ads that pop up before I put the screen on stream to avoid any. I guess it was D Block who said I could run into some copyright issues if I maybe if there's like I don't know if it's copyright, but he said like I should be careful about having pop up ads in the stream. Um, so yeah, Shoeless Joe Jackson. Here's his rookie campaign. With a 408 average, 468 on base percentage, and 1058 OPS. I mean, there was no rookie of the year back then. 47 with Jackie was the first rookie of the year. So it was harder to find these seasons pre 47. But when I found this one, it felt like a no brainer. Not only is he on the roster, I think I have to start him. Um, it is 1911, but it's hard to argue with 233 hits and a 408 average. So he's in. And then the other thing is, I want to look at their splits, but thinking about center fielders, I was thinking a lot about the rookie seasons from Fred Lynn and Mike Trout. They're so good. Um, I don't think I could put either of them. So I'm thinking about platooning them if the splits support it. That's one of the things I do like about Perfect Team is you can platoon like two of the best players ever, and they're not going to complain because it's a simulation. Um, of course, you would never do this in real life because they're each so good, and also I think you'd worry about morale or whatever, however they might react to it. But I think you might end up platooning them. So here's Trout's rookie season. Led the league in runs, led the league in steals, and 30 home runs. The combination of speed and power is so good. So he's definitely in, and I think maybe platooned with Lynn because the combination of speed and power makes me want to start Trout. But then when I look at Lynn's stats, which also amazingly same rookie year as Jim Rice, um, to add two players that become kind of the faces of the franchise in the same year is amazing. But Lynn comes in with leading the league in doubles and runs, 331 average, 967 OPS. I don't know who you bench here. So I'm thinking that's why I'm thinking about doing the platoon. And then I think a name that was uh, brought up, but I think I glossed over not because it wasn't an amazing season, but because I thought he's definitely in is Aaron Judge. So 50. Hey, D Block, we're finalizing the roster for that all rookie team, and I mentioned your name because a really good from at least a productivity rate perspective that I found at second base. Um, uh, Especially one of the best slash lines of average on base percentage and slugging is actually Keston Hura, and I was talking about how I always give you a hard time for starting him in PT 24 despite his terrible defense, and now I'm thinking about adding him to this team. So I thought you might get a kick out of it if you joined the stream. So D Block, just for you, here's Keston Hura's rookie season: 303 average, 368 on base percentage, and 570 slugging for a 938 OPS. So in about half a season, he hit 23 doubles and 19 home runs. Yeah, Keston for the win. So that's where we are. I'm actually thinking about, it wasn't a deep position, and Dustin Pedroia was our kind of placeholder. And at least from a rate perspective, Keston's better. Now, if you factor in defense, of course, it's it makes it harder to make the switch. But um, I think we might have to do it. And of course, it's a simulation, so we can always do it again with other players. Um, the only other, so yeah, so I'm already having to like move people around. So like Ted Williams had a great rookie season, so I want him on the team. But if I put him in left, then I've got to move uh, Shoeless Joe Jackson around, and then I don't have a spot for Judge. But if we're playing in 2024, we can always start one of them at DH. I'd have to see what their defensive attributes look like in the base game using the editor mode. Um, but I'm kind of leaning towards putting Judge at DH. Um, and then maybe the Lynn Trout platoon, depending on what the splits look like. I think Tony Oliva actually might end up getting cut. So he was a rookie who won a batting title. Um, but I don't think he can crack this line because I do think Pujols deserves a spot. Um, I've got Corey Seager as my one of the backup infielders. I'm a little biased because Nomar went to Georgia Tech, but I want Nomar to start, and I think he has a rookie campaign that doesn't make that a ridiculous decision. Um, and then right now I've got McGuire as another backup infielder, but as a Mets fan, I'm tempted to replace him um, with the polar bear um, with Pete Alonso, but I haven't pulled the trigger yet on that. Right now, it still has McGuire, and then Pujols because he can play third or outfield. I have him still on the roster, and then I can't see taking Ichiro off, so got him there. And then the pitching staff was what I was going to round up today before pulling all the player ID numbers from Baseball Reference. So the other thing I was hoping maybe someone in chat would know, but I was just going to mess around with Baseball Reference and try to find it is if there's a way to when you look up a player to easily find their player ID. Does anyone know where that sits? So the other thing I was gonna do was just look in Google for. Actually, let me do it in a different window so I can just keep this up. So baseball reference player ID. I thought it would be Hura KE01 D block. So D block you're saying is K Hura 01. But do you know like where in the profile I can find it? I mean, here is a bad example because there's not going to be lots of players with a similar um, player ID. Where, for example, from doing the Mets Sims, I know that Ed Hearn, right, Mets backup catcher Ed Hearn, he is he was Hearn ED02. But I don't know where that is, and I thought for sure I had heard someone from OOTP say that the OT player name is the same as the. Yeah, so let's double check. Oh, let me open the game. Let's just find somebody. Let me switch back to the game, and let's just find somebody. I guess we can do a player search. So Logan Allen seems like someone who might have a non 01 player ID. So if I go to editor, yeah, he's Allen LO02. And yeah, it does say baseball reference ID. But I don't know how to find that within baseball reference. So if I go back to Ed Hearn in baseball reference, where do I find that Hearn ED02? That's what I'm wondering. That's not in their bullpen, is it? I was hoping that it would be right here on this like main landing page. And I can't look in the game because a lot of these players aren't in the current season, so their player search wouldn't do it. All right, let me go back to this Google search I started. Oh, I think I closed it. So yeah, so D Block, do you see what I'm looking for? Do you happen to know where that where in BREF that sits? Yeah, you're like okay, yeah. Thank you. Please let me know if you find it. This is part of why I'm streaming this too, because I'm sure this is making for a very boring part of the stream, but I also think if we can find the answer, it'll help a lot of people who want to go and do stuff like this. um, okay, let's see. So I found one article that says the player ID map from Smart Fantasy Baseball has it, but it's only for active players. And of course, we're looking for all-time players. It is one of my pet peeves with baseball references. They have everything you're ever looking for, but when you're within baseball reference, it's sometimes like very hard to find it. I often find myself going back out of BREF, doing the search in Google, and then jumping back in. Okay, if we do not find it, ask EVC. He definitely knows. Okay, that I mean, for sure, he knows how to do it. Um, and I'm assuming you're talking about EVC and NYC two, and not EVC and NYC one. But I will ask him the next time I see him online. Yeah, I was really hoping it would be right up here. What if we look within EVC, not yourself? Baseball reference BREF ID. Maybe I'll try that. Hey, Twins34, welcome back to the stream. We're looking for, I don't know if you know this, but the player ID within the game. So I'll go back to the base game here. For Logan Allen, it's last name, first two letters. Oh, it's in the URL. Oh, oh, duh, it is. Oh man, awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, so okay, so I have to let me move this over a little bit. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Twins34. Okay. In the URL, it is Kern ED02. No, coming in now is just fine. It was still pretty early in the stream, so this is super helpful. Do you happen to know though, like if you look up a roster, is there any way to like if let's say if you look up a roster in Baseball Reference to pull up a view where it includes that ID as one of the fields in the data table? Or if not, that's fine. This is already super helpful just to be able to find it in the URL. Not that, yeah. Okay. Well, if you don't know, there's no way I would know because I didn't even know to look in the URL. That's maybe something we can ask EVC. I'll D-Block had a good suggestion that EVC might know some of this baseball ref ID stuff. So let me take a step back, Twins34, since you're so helpful in putting this list together. I did make a few edits from last night. We'll get you caught up on those, and then we'll start building the roster. Um, I added Rudy York as a catcher. He had a tremendous rookie season. I'm leaning towards replacing Dustin Pedroia with Keston Hiura, despite his terrible defense. Um, he had a really impressive rookie campaign, especially within the limited number of good second baseman rookie seasons we found. And then in doing some searching in pre rookie of the year seasons, Ted Williams and Shoeless Joe Jackson really stood out. And then I was going to go back and sort through some of the pitching staff is still incomplete. One of the things I decided was just because they're in the bullpen, I don't think I necessarily want to limit it to relief pitchers. I think just like in perfect team league and tournament play, I don't mind putting a bunch of starters in the bullpen. I think let's just find the best pitching years and we'll sort out later whether they're starters or relievers. Yes, if you look at a team in BREF, it's just that, yeah. I was just hoping that in one of these like advanced statistics tables, there would be one where player ID is one of the fields, but so far it doesn't look like it. But just knowing it's in the URL is helpful. So the other thing I'm going to do is here's the one I use for the Mets. I don't know if any of you guys do this enough in the base game for it to. Oh, I have to open up my notepad. So here's what the file looks like for the 86 Mets. It's the player ID, the year, and then the destination. Blyleven in the 70s was a great pitcher and probably worked great in the bullpen. He was still pretty good in the 80s. But how was his rookie year? Let's pull it up. Let me pull it up. Bert Blyleven. All right, here is his. So his rookie campaign, 10-9, 3.18 ERA, 1.159 WHIP. He's rated 70 something. So I looked at his stats, and I think already just by like perusing the rookie of the year list, and let me pull that up too. Um, I think there are better pitcher seasons, but I'll keep him. I'm gonna put his name on the paper list for now. And also, when I said I was going to actually build the roster tonight, I honestly had forgotten that I hadn't finished the pitching staff. So, but it was a lot of fun actually putting the other names together with help from the chat. So I think it'll still be fun to do that. So hold on, I'm going to put this up here for a second while I pull up the. There we go. This is what I was looking for. Oh, and of the pre Rookie of the Year award seasons, one that I did find, and let me just double check it by pulling it up now, is Christy Mathewson. So let me actually switch it to that for a second. I feel like he's a must add with this stat line. 20-17, 336 innings. Of course, a very different era. Um, but 2.41 ERA, 1.146 WHIP. Yeah, I think I have to include him. Um, even if the context is different, I think these stats are still good enough that he should make this all time rookie team. Hey, Danny D. Smith, thanks for joining us. I don't know if you just got in here, but we're building a all time rookie season team to collect in the time machine and bring into 2024. So even if it's just a few, I just wanted to find some pre rookie of the year folks to make the roster feel a little more rounded from a time perspective. And then on a great suggestion from Nolan, I was thinking about like which team do I want to replace with these folks, and he suggested the A's, which I thought was brilliant. Since they want to leave so bad, we'll just help them along and get rid of the whole team. Not that the players are the ones who want to leave, but we'll just replace the A's completely with our franchise time machine team. So going back to the list. So Twins 34 with Walter Johnson 14-14, but a 1.65 ERA, 164 strikeouts, 0.964 WHIP. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for underweighting wins and losses. I'd much rather go with stats with like WHIP. Um, so that is That is a great season. Gary Peters is one I wanted to go back and look at a little closer, but Christy Mathewson. I like Walter Johnson. We'll put him in here for now. So yeah, disregard these RPs. I'm going to make these all just pitchers. So if we go back to, I just find this Rookie of the Year list very helpful. So I'm going to go back to it for a second. Oh, there was Jose Fernandez. Let me pull him up. He was one I wanted to look at because if I recall, he had like a crazy low hits per 9 innings. Yeah, led the league with 5.8 hits per nine, and a .979 WHIP. But also, I think like given his tragic story, I like the idea of bringing him back to play. So I definitely want to add him. H his H9 was 5.8. So I'm gonna add him. Oh, you know what? I need to start adding the years so that I can pull them into the. So for him, it was 2013. So let me go back to the. Yeah, when it comes to Fernando Mania, it comes in right away. So I have him here already on the list. D block. So he's definitely on. He was one of the first ones I added. Like from the seasons I lived through, like Fernando, Nomo, and Gooden really stuck out to me. Rigetti in 81. Let's take a look. Not that it matters, but did he win the Rookie of the Year that year? Yeah. It also makes it easier for me to just click through onto his name here. So let me pull over. Yeah, no, D Block. I mean, definitely bring up names, even if they're on the list. It's good to hear them. So here's Rigetti. Eight and four. I think I think he was still a starter then. Yeah, 15 games started. Um 2.05 ERA, 1.073 WHIP. Led the league in hits per nine and home runs per nine and strikeouts per nine. Wow. Yep. So let's put Rigetti on here for now. I also like that he's a lefty, and I like that. he ends up in the bullpen, so it doesn't feel as weird putting him in the pen if that's where he ends up. And that would have been 1981. Yeah. Thank you, Twins 34, for suggesting Tom Seaver. I didn't want to seem like too much of a Homer Mets fan by putting him in, so let's just double check though. And he was one who I just wanted to make sure his rookie season was as good as I remembered it being. Not that I was alive then, but at least remember hearing about it and looking it up. 16-3, 276. You know, the whip is a little weak. And he did win the rookie of the year, but I'm actually feeling maybe like he might not actually make it despite my Mets fandom. He is an all-time great for sure. And when I do the all-time great Mets team, and when we do the all-time great, um, I was also thinking about like doing teams by decades. Like he's going to make a lot of those teams, but I don't know that he can make this team on this rookie season. And I say that as a Mets fan, so I feel like I'm being pretty fair. Um, but I do appreciate you bringing him up. I was actually just going to add him, but then I thought, well, I should look him up. And then since you brought him up, that was a good segue. And now, unfortunately, I don't necessarily know that I can add him in good conscience. But let's go back to that list. But he is definitely an all-time great. All right, let's see. Oh, sorry. Let me add Valenzuela's year to his listing so I don't have to look it up again later. And let's see. Let me add Gooden's 84. I don't know if you guys noticed on the list, but I added Mark Fidrich. I always liked his story, and um, I think the stats support it too. So here's the bird. Um, Super unfortunate that he basically like threw his arm out, just overworked, and never really had the career I think he deserved. But so all the more reason he's another one I wanted to bring back onto this team because of the way his career went. Um, just want to see him shine on this team. So 29 games started, 24 complete games. It's no wonder he didn't last long. But 19-9, 2.34 ERA, 1.079 WHIP, led the league in complete games ERA and ERA plus. So he's one I definitely added. Oh yeah, no, Gooden is on the list. He was one of my first 3 or 4 ads. So let me just grab Fidrich's 76. So let me just add his year. But yeah, Gooden was so Gary Peters I added as I was looking at lists and stats, but then I was like, well, let me just add my no brainers. So I added Gooden, Fernando, Nomo, and Otani. Um, and then Fidrich was the next one I added. Yeah, you know what? Twins in front. J.R. Richard is someone I looked up right away because I've always been fascinated by his stats, and um, and I found them pre-internet, and I always wondered, what happened to him because in the baseball encyclopedia, he has these great stat lines and then just kind of tails off. Um, but I was disappointed that he didn't have a strong rookie season that we can put him in here. But D Block with Kevin Napier, let me pull him up next. I just want to add 1976 here for Fidrich, and then we'll go back and look up Napier's rookie season. There he is. 12 and 8, 276. I don't love that his whip is kind of high. I mean, relatively speaking to this crowd. So here's what I'm gonna do, Nebok. I'm gonna pencil him in on my paper list, and we'll see where we stand after we kind of go through the no brainers. Yeah, Twins 34. Viola does the same thing. I was surprised like how many times I ended up thinking that like someone I really wanted on the team or someone I remember like having a hot start to their career, and then I look it up and it's like the reverse sophomore slump. Their like rookie campaign was like decent or good or sometimes just bad, and then like their huge career starts on year two. So I noticed that quite a few times. Um, so yeah, let me go back to this. Yes. But yeah, Nolan. I don't know if you stepped with it. I added Jose Fernandez as one of my kind of no brainer picks. Partly because his 5.8 hits per nine is incredible, but also because of his kind of tragic end of his life. I wanted to bring him back to play on this team. So he not only did he get a look, but he was like an instant ad for me. Once I confirmed that his rookie season was as good as I kind of remember it being. So he is definitely in. Yeah. And for a similar reason, not that he passed away, but because his arm just failed, like Mark Fidrich to me was an instant add too. I just love the idea of um, you know, letting him pitch again in the game. Yep, he does. Like, I think just like the enthusiasm and fun he brought to his starts, also just makes it easy to add him. Um, so let's go back to the. There were a few pitchers that show up here that I wanted to look into. Funny story about John Montefusco. He's here on this list. One of my neighbors told me about it. Like when we were teenagers, he told me about a dream he had that we're looking at our baseball cards, and he said that I had just in this dream had a ton of John Montefusco rookie cards, and for whatever reason, that little detail of his dream has stuck in my mind, and I always think of that whenever John Montefusco comes up. Which, granted, isn't often, but I still think about it whenever it does. Yeah, Scott Erickson, rookie season sucked. Next season wins World Series and a 20-game winner. Yeah, maybe that's another team we do. Maybe we do a second greatest second years. Yep, the Count of Montefusco. If you want his rookie year, find me in my friend's dream. Apparently, I had a lot of his rookie card. So Fernando, I really great call on Dave Rigetti. I'm glad I was pushed into looking at that because I honestly would have skipped past it. So here's Gary Peters. I'm open to dropping him, but I wanted to like look at his stats just to get another perspective on it. So here's his first full season. 19 and 8, 2.33 ERA. Led the league in home runs per nine. Led the league in ERA plus and FIP. So some of those are some of the stats I prefer to look at over wins and things are a little less under his control. Yes, Mark Eichhorn. If we're adding relievers, he was definitely um, one to add. And um, my only concern there is I know from Stratomatic, and this was reinforced in last year's his PT 24 card is how splitty he was. But man, that rookie season he was lights out, and I think that was the season where he was in the bullpen with Tom Hankey, right? So it was like shut down bullpen. So I'm open to dropping Gary Peters, but right now he's still good. I'm going to leave him in, but we can always bump him out. So while we're talking about it, let's pull up Icorn. Yeah, despite being a Mets fan, I really like playing those mid '80s Blue Jays teams in Stratomatic because they just had such fun cards. So 14-6. I'm actually even surprised he had 10 saves because let me pull it up. I think Tom Hankey was still on the team at this time. So sorry, we're looking at 86 or 87. 86. So Hankey in 86, yeah, he got the bulk of the saves, and Icorn was the setup. But yeah, this is an interesting stat line. 1.72 ERA, sub one whip, 9.5 strikeouts per nine. I mean, I think we have to at least put him on the sheet for consideration. Let me put him down here for right now. Yeah, 157th inning pitch as a reliever. That was back when not only some closers were still getting those 3 inning saves, right? You didn't have to come in with the tying run um, in the hole. You could have it. You could just pitch any 3 innings to end the game and get a save. But setup pitchers were in some ways more like middle relievers. They just pitched long innings and they pitched a lot of games. So yeah, so okay, so Icorn's on the list, but I have him just kind of outside the bubble for now. But yeah, Twins 34. That's a good call, and he's a pitcher at least from a Stratomatic perspective that I really like. So it's fun to kind of consider him. So a lot of these pitchers, like in the 50s, 60s, I don't know, and this list um, only shows their kind of the most basic stats, so win loss, ERA, inning switch, and strikeout. So I wanted to click through on some of them to just see like are any of them seem good enough to consider. So 3.22 ERA, 1.55 WHIP. I already have no problem like just scooting past him. Don Schwal. So next up would be Jack Sanford, 19-8. 3.08 ERA. He did lead the league in hits per nine. Yeah, 1 year. I don't mind adding the 1 year wonders because I also don't want it to just be like the first years of all time great players. I want there to be a mix of kind of 1 year wonders and the Keston Hiuras of the world. So led the league in strikeouts. I think his whip seems high by current standards, but if he led the league in hits per nine with 7.4, like maybe that's not too bad of a whip either. So I'm gonna put him on the maybe list for now. Jack Sanford, 1957. I think it's also telling when this happens, he was an all-star his rookie year. So Twins 34 says Don Newcomb looks good, but it's like what you're looking at now. Yeah, so if it's a pretty common profile, maybe we just like pick one of them to represent that type of season. Um, so this one I was interested in because Herb Score I know from his career, but I didn't know that he had won the Rookie of the Year. Um, and then I was surprised to find that like how short his career was, given like for some reason I know his name so well. Um, so yeah, 16 and 10, led the league in strikeouts his first two seasons, um, including strikeout rate. And then, I mean, I'm assuming he was overworked. Yeah, Bob Feller, that's a good one. Let's look up Feller and I think also Walter Johnson just to see. Bob Feller. So thanks for that suggestion, Nolan. And keep them coming. I don't mind jumping around to look at folks. So I think here's the problem. He would have qualified in this partial year of 37, where he went 9 and 7. I think if at 18 years old, wow. I mean, if he hadn't qualified, and we're looking at his oh well, I thought we added Christy Mathewson, but I don't think we looked at Walter yet. Twins. But yeah, if we were looking at his 1938 season where he was 19, I mean, he's definitely in. 17 and 11. Well, maybe not. uh, led the league in strikeouts with 240, but also led the league in walks with 208. And at 19 old, this is like the Nuke Lelouch Bull Durham profile, right? Like led the league, new league record in strikeouts, new league record in walks. Um, but led the league in hits per nine, led the league in strikeouts per nine. I mean, this would be a fun profile to add, but unfortunately, it's not his rookie season, so I don't think we can pull him in. But let's look up Walter Johnson. Man, I did not realize Robert Feller was so young when he started. Walter Johnson, 1908. Oh, that's right, right, right. No, yeah, right. You gave me the short view of his stats in the chat. Sorry, you're right. I apologize, twins. You're absolutely right. I did add him based on your chat recommendation. So you're right. There he is, already on the list because of your chat message. So let me just add the year. Sorry about that. All right, another from Twins 34, Russ Ford's 2000 19 and 1910 season. Let's check that out. 26 and 6, 165 ERA, led the league in hits per nine, 0.881. I like it. I like it. I also like that he only won 100 wins in his career. So um, I like the idea of pulling him into this team. And it gives us a little more chronological diversity. The other thing I was wondering is um, maybe looking at some of the Negro League players and seeing if we can bring some of them in too. Problem is like, they weren't involved in the Rookie of the Year voting, and so I don't know how easy or hard to be. I mean, I guess the way to do it would be like to go by the players we know, like the Satchel Pages, and start there and see what their rookie years look like. The other thing is a simulation I'm definitely going to do um, is put together a team of the best Negro League players and start with 1947 and go backwards and do simulations with that to see what happens. So okay, so yeah, who am I adding? I'm adding Russ Ford, 1910. Thanks for that, Twins. That was a great suggestion. I like that profile, and frankly, it's going to cause me to look him up and learn more about him. So I really appreciate that. So, for example, and I think this is where we might run into problems like how robust are the stats, but if we look up Satchel Paige, 7-2, Addy Joss. Okay, yeah, Nolan, thanks for that. Addy Joss, I'll look up Addy Joss next. Um, led the league in hits per nine, led the league in strikeouts per nine, 1082 whip. I mean, on the strength of that, I feel okay adding him to the. Let's put him on the just off the list. So 1927 Satchel Paige, and let's see if we end up pulling him in. Okay, Addy Joss, I like that suggestion. Oh, the other one that I'll look at is Old Hoss Radburn, 17-13. So if I look at his other career stats, it looks like. Oh, sorry. Let me switch. I didn't bring you guys with me to BREF. Um, so he led the league in WHIP a couple times, but it looks like they were all sub one. Because I'm trying to reconcile for the era too, and so the fact that his rookie year WHIP was above one, and the times he won the ERA crown were below two, and his rookie year is 2.77. So I'm wondering if it wasn't as strong for the era. But let me look up. So Aldhouse Radburn, I just remember him from when I would read the baseball encyclopedia and like look for just weird stats. And just he just said because he won 60 games in a year. So I was kind of curious to see like what did his rookie year look like? Uh 25 and so look check out this stat line in 1884. 60 and 12, 1.38 ERA, um 70 73 games started, 73 complete games. That's my favorite one. Led the league in strikeouts with 441. 1.38 ERA, 205 ERA plus. I just one of my favorite all-time stat lines. I still laugh when I see it. But his rookie campaign, again, I think if he's leading the league at 1.38 in that era and his rookie campaign's at 2.43, it sounds like it just I don't think it's strong enough relative to the era. So despite how much I like him as a historical figure and stat line wonder, yeah, they were built different. 73 games started, 73 complete games is maybe one of my favorite baseball stats. Bullet Joe Rogan, John Donaldson, Nip Winters, Ray Brown, Andy Cooper, Ruben Bill Foster. Yeah, let's check them all out. I have no idea what their rookie seasons look like. So Bullet Joe Rogan's 5.12. Yeah, he's another one. His second year looks like a good one, right? He's in fact, I'm gonna start a separate year, second year. That is a sim I definitely want to do. So let me just do it in a notepad on the computer. All time second year team. Bullet Joe Rogan. Sorry, Chad, can you guys remind me who else did we talk about that it was their second year that was great? I'm going to scroll up too and see if I can find it because we had a couple of really good ones I don't want to lose. Scott Erickson, J.R. Richard. Yep. You must have been doing the same scrolling I was. Okay, those are great. I'm already starting that list for the all-time second year team. All right, so that was Bullet Joe Rogan. Now we find John Donaldson. So there's his batting. Definitely not strong enough for this team, but let's find his. I thought he pitched. Did he? Was he not two-way? Twins, you were searching on BREF when I asked. Oh, you just okay. Well, thanks for remembering. Your memory is good. I confirmed it by looking up further in the chat. Nip winners. I already think we have a really fun pitching staff, but I do want to fill out that last spot and then get the team built. Ooh, 10-3, 2.36 ERA. Led the league in hits per nine and strikeouts per nine. Yeah, that's strong. So Nip winners in 1923. That's a pretty solid stat line. Ray Brown. Seven and six. Led the league in games and starts and innings pitched and strikeouts. I don't see putting him ahead of Satchel Paige or Nip Winners though. So let me keep going. Um, Andy Cooper. Yeah, thanks, D Block. These are good suggestions. Yeah, so Andy Cooper's one where he did not have a strong start to his career. Definitely, especially compared to the rest of his career. So I think that's a non-starter. So Twins, to be honest, if this team does not go like 118 and 44, then we have issues. So here's the thing though. I would have thought the same thing until we did that 97 Mariners sim where we added Greg Maddux and Pedro Martinez, Billy Wagner, and Trevor Hoffman. And they only won 114. I say only, but they won 114 games. It was a 90 game winning team to start with. And so if they can't top 120, I will still not be shocked if this team doesn't win 120, just because I think it's that hard to win that many games. But I get what you're saying. I'm kind of with you on that. Oh, so Andy Cooper. Yeah, so not a great start to a great career. Um, the Fosters, Rube and Bill Foster. The other thing is, I think the record is 116. I think that's correct. Um, I can't remember where I read or heard it, but I think of the teams that have won 110 games, only one of them won the World Series. So it's another thing that just goes to show like just how hard it is to win. Rube Foster. So I think he would have qualified in this 3-3 season, right? Given how short their seasons are, I think I think he would have qualified. If he didn't, and we look at 1914, that's a pretty strong stat line. But I think I still like Satchel Pages and Nip Winter's stat lines better, so I'm gonna stick with them for now. Um, yeah, but 116, right? Actually, I should know that. I think part of it is I I sometimes forget like if it's been passed since, but you would think I would remember if it had. So yeah, 116 with the 2001 Mariners. So Bill Foster, 7-1, led the league in ERA, led the league in ERA plus, led the league in WHIP, led the league in hits per nine, home runs per nine, and strikeouts per nine. Okay, I mean that's compelling. That is a strong rookie stat line. So that's Bill Foster in 1924. Okay, so at this point, I don't have a problem dropping Gary Peters. And drag him down the list. I personally have a soft spot for Satchel Paige, so I'm going to look at his stats again and see. And also, the Cubs played fewer games in 1906, so you could argue that the Cubs' 116 wins is more impressive, right? All right, I'm a little partial to Satchel, but let's see. I'm wondering. I think Bill Foster has the more impressive stat line. I mean, as we've been looking through these stats, it seems like breaking only by 10 games. I think when you go by, I don't know, this is still pretty strong. 116 and 36 and 116 and 46. Yeah, I think there's something to be said for only losing 36 games. I mean, also you would consider that like 10 games behind in the loss column, right? Which when you're talking about 36 and 46 is pretty huge. Um, but also I think to go 116 and 46 in an era where there's probably more talent parity, you can argue that's more impressive too. So I don't. I'm gonna. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna enter into one of the fields here some of the key stats, and then see if we can decide. So for Satchel, I'm gonna put 7-2, 2.39 ERA. strikeout leader, a league leader in strikeouts, FIP, WHIP, strikeouts for nine, strikeouts. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start filling in some of these stats, see if we can get a better comparison. Because I think there's still about two or three open slots. Let me look at NIP winners. So for NIP winners, I have 10 and 3, 2.36. League leaders in wins. That's interesting. I mean, it's small numbers, but he led the league in shutouts with 2 and saves with 2. And Bill Foster. I actually don't know that we'll get to play the sim today. We'll probably end up just finishing the roster, but I really like this stuff. Do you think there's more parity? I would think that the top players in the average play was bigger. So if you could assemble an all-star team, I think it would have it easier than in the power monitor. Well, I was just thinking, if you're back in 1906 and you're able to put together the best team, there might be a bigger drop off between your talent and the next teams. Um, whereas like now, I don't think you don't have those differences. Um, but yeah, I mean, I could also see the argument the other way too. Sadly, both didn't win. Yes, they didn't win the World Series. Yeah, so I think that's the stat I was talking about. Is of the four 110 plus game winners, I think only one won the World Series. Oh, Frank Viola is ripping you up in the Winter League you made for your 1980s league. Where it hit so it, where in his career is he? Like right before he would debut in the majors or earlier? I think it's so fun how like we get so excited about these fictional sims and like what happens in them. Like that Frank Viola is ripping up your Winter Leagues. I find that exciting and fascinating, and it's completely fictional. He's not in your farm system. He's a rookie and just got drafted. That's all. I mean, that's gonna be fun though to watch him like progress through that farm system, right? Bill Foster. So Bill Foster was 7-1, 2.16 ERA. Led the league in win percentage, ERA, ERA plus, FIP, WHIP, H9, home run 9, strikeout 9. Okay, so let me ask chat a question. If you see these stat lines, like which stat line jumps out at you as the top, or do one or two jump out as like clearly more impressive? It's like being a kid in fantasy, how it'd be if your favorite team, which is pretty bad right now, would trade for player A, B, and C. Right. Yeah. And that's why like I had so much fun playing revisionist history with this 97 um, Mariners and forcing four trades. Like, take your pick. Any four players from any four teams, you can send them garbage, but you can get whatever player you want. That was super fun to me. I think in some years where the free agent class is really strong, I think the option that I called shopping spree, which is you can add any six free agents from that previous offseason to your team for free. I think that's going to be a great one. So Twins looks more at ERA, Ks, WHIP, HR, a home run nine, walks per nine, and strikeouts per nine. So then does that push you more towards Page and Foster? Because Page and Foster led the league in their rookie years in FIP and WHIP and strikeouts per nine, whereas Nip Winters did not. I mean, this we can always redo it too, and it's easy enough to change. So I'm gonna go with uh, Satchel Page. Yeah, because they keep people off base. Satchel Page and Bill Foster, and I think that adds a lot of fun to the pitching staff too, especially Satchel Page. So Satchel Page, 1927, and then Bill Foster, 1924. And then Nomo and Otani, I'm gonna just say they're in just because their rookie seasons were so crazy. Not just for being good, but also for being such like media and cultural phenomena, just like Fernando. But I need to pull up their years. Oh, actually, if I just go back to the list, is there anyone else historical that anyone wants to look up? I also just want to scoot through this rookie of the year list too to just make sure um, we didn't overlook anyone. This Joe Black year looks like it might have been impressive. 6-9. Um, oh wait, so wait, he wasn't classified as a rookie until 1950. Oh, because I'm looking at his Negro League stats. Got it. 1952, 15-4, finished 41 games, led the league in that. 1.05 WHIP. I mean, 15-4, 15 saves. That's a pretty solid profile there. Let me add Joe Black, 1952. He might end up finishing just outside the bubble, but oh, Vida Blue. Yes, 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 yes. Let's pull him up. Yeah, that's a big miss. 24 and 8, 1.82 ERA, led the league in shutouts, 2.2 FIP, 0.952 WHIP, led the league in hits per nine and strikeouts per nine, and won the MVP award and the Cy Young award. How did he not win Rookie of the Year? Did he already have too many innings pitched by then? I think it shows when they reached their rookie limits during the 1970 season. Oh, bummer. Oh, what a bummer. He was officially a rookie in 1970. I am adding him to the as the ace of the second year team though. Yeah, sorry, I should have had this up. He uh he officially so if you look at the headers of any player, it shows when they reach their rookie limits. Rookie status exceeded rookie limits during the 1970 season, and it's because he had a partial season in 69 and then a partial season in 70. Oh man. Great call on overlooking him. He is a must add though to the second year team. Actually, one thing we should do is we should put like a 9 or 11 game series of the all rookie team and all second year team because I think that's going to be awesome. Wow, Vita Blue, what an insane season and what a ripoff that he didn't qualify as a rookie. Man, this is the kind of stuff I learned though doing these all these different teams I put together. And I miss it. I hadn't done it in a long time, so this is super fun and I'm still learning stuff. I think as we get into these more modern pictures, like we should have a sense of whether we'd want to add them or not. Like this Greg Olson season, I think there were plenty of cases where pitchers racked up lots of saves but didn't necessarily have like the most impressive um stats. Like the 1.69 ERA looks great, but the 1.2 WHIP isn't super impressive. So Twins for the list you're looking at had him on outstanding rookie season, so they probably missed it as well. Yeah, yeah. I think for me the big giveaway was he didn't win Rookie of the Year with that stat line, so there must have been something. Here's Nomo. Oh, I have to add 1995 for Nomo. Oh, Kerry Wood. This is another one I wanted to look at because you can go for Devin Williams if looking for rookie relievers. Okay, let me look for him next. I think though I'm pretty comfortable, especially like doing it the perfect team way, where you just like find the best pitchers, whether they're starters or not, and filling the roster, and then deciding like who's going to go in the pen. But I will look at Devin Williams next. So here's Kerry Wood. He was super fun to watch when he was healthy. So, and of course, I say that, and his entire second year is wiped out because he was injured. Um, 13 and 6. ERA is not super impressive, but neither is Whip. But led the league in hits per nine and strikeouts per nine. I think if his control were better and could have kept his whip lower, he'd be an ad. I want to add him just because he is so fun to watch pitch, and I like pitchers that have crazy high strikeout rates. But so D block whip through the ear is pretty misleading stat. No, that's totally fair. During a time where everyone hit for no power but contact and pitchers not striking well out, hit should be high naturally. Oh, so are you talking more about when we're looking at the Negro League pitchers, or when we're looking at someone like um, Kerry Wood? Kerry Wood's whip is just high because he walks so many people. Um, I really want to add him because I like the idea of having like another strikeout machine on the roster, but I don't think I can. In general, old times versus more modern producers. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, but that said, though, D Block, are you okay with the Satchel Paige, Bill Foster choices for the roster? Oh yeah, yeah, Bullet Rogan for the second year, totally Twins. I forgot to do that. Thank you for the reminder. Oh no, he's on there. He's the first name I added actually, so he's on there. But thank you for the reminder. Okay, D Block is on board with our two Negro League pitcher choices. Um, you know what we didn't do? We didn't look at Negro League batters for rookie season, so maybe we should do that. So let's do this. Let me finish going through the rookie of the year pitchers just to make sure we didn't miss anybody. And then maybe brainstorm a few either Negro League or pre 1947 batters that we might have missed. Um, and then probably going to call it a night. But what I'll do is between now and the next stream, which will probably be tomorrow night, I will look up all the BREF numbers and put the text file together so that we can start stimming right away the next time I stream, which is again probably tomorrow night. Um, Scott. Oh, sorry, Devin Williams. We're gonna look up Devin Williams because I do like the idea of considering a pure reliever because we have so many starters. Four and one. Oh my goodness. Point 33 ERA. 1375 ERA plus. 0.86 FIP. 0.63 WHIP. Oh my goodness. He is definitely on the team. That is a sick stat line. Oh, that is so good. That is, Nolan, thank you for that suggestion. That is a great ad. So the question is, who do we bump? Who do we bump? I'm tempted to bump Rigetti, but I like having that lefty arm. I mean, I think it's gonna make it for sure though that Eichhorn and Sanford aren't gonna make it. So Devin Williams is definitely in. I just have to find a place for him. So that's why I'm putting him here. Not because he's on the bubble. Um, yeah, that's crazy. Twins for Ed Summers. Let's look him up. 24 and 12, 1.64 ERA, 1.083 WHIP, 145 ERA plus, 2.29 FIP. Yeah, I agree. What you're saying there, great rookie season, but probably a bubble guy, but definitely worth putting on the list here. What made you think of him, by the way? 1908. Oh, the list you're looking at. Awesome. No, thank you for pulling up other lists and stuff. I really appreciate having other names to consider. The other thing is I just want to keep going through. Oh, especially with the news recently of all the changes in the career leaders. Uh, I have no idea what Josh Gibson's rookie season looked like. Led the league in hits, triples, home runs, RBI, 395, 442. Oh, insane. This is great. That's great. He's in. I'm so glad his rookie season is amazing. So Josh Gibson, 1933. Okay. So despite my being a Mets fan, I think he's bumping Piazza because that Rudy York season is amazing. Not amazing, but very strong. This Josh Gibson season is amazing. So I'm actually going to end up. Well, let's do it this way. I'm going to put Rudy York as the backup now, and then put Josh Gibson. This is now going to be year. I wonder, is there a Negro League or dead ball era second baseman that might have had a good rookie season? Um, Also, I thought of a few folks I want to look at to see just based on like being statistical monsters and wanting to know what their rookie seasons look like. So Hannes Wagner, for example, so he had a short rookie season. He would have qualified though in this year, I think. Let me double check. Rookie limits in the 1897 season. Yeah, and I do like the idea of having someone from the 1800s. 335, 843 OPS, 20 stolen bases. I mean, he would be the second baseman. Oh, but he mostly played center field that year. Okay. Yeah, not enough games at second base, I don't think. Willie Wells from D Block. Let me look up Willie Wells. So rookie season in 24. 300, 789 OPS. Yeah, I mean, I know it's a bit of a shortcut, but I don't know that the OPS qualifies. I mean, he had monster seasons early in his career, but I don't think that rookie season is necessarily strong enough. John Henry Lloyd. D Block, I love it. You coming in with these names. Ooh. 348, 392, 448, 839 OPS, 24 steals. I mean, I think it's good enough to bump Keston. It's been hard to find second baseman. Oh, well, it looks like he played shortstop that year. Yeah, all 90 games at shortstop. So who did we have at shortstop right now? Oh, Nomar. I don't think I can cut Nomar. We could maybe bump Corey Seager, though. All right, I'm putting John Henry Lloyd on the bubble because I do like that stat line. Oh, Eddie Collins. Yes. Let's look him up next. And John Henry Lloyd, I think it was 1921. Okay. The Negro League Museum is so amazing. Where is that? Where is the Negro League Museum? Kid suggestions from Twins 34 on Eddie Collins. Oh, it's in Kansas City. Oh, did you mention that yesterday too? D Block doing everything he can to try to get us interested in Kansas City. Uh, hit his rookie limits in 1908. Oh yeah, I think I actually looked at this season, and because he hit the limits in '08, you don't get the 347 average year, you get the 273 average year. But he is definitely on that second year team, that's for sure. Yep, yep, Super second year team. That's right. I'm adding him as we speak. I'm telling you, this second year team is going to be super strong. Um, oh, I know. I wanted to also look up. So as a batter, but also as a pitcher. So it looks like 1915 rookie limits in 1915. So as a batter, 315 average, um, 952 OPS on a pretty small sample size, but the 952 OPS is pretty strong. So then let's go to his pitching stats. I think I did check out Hornsby Nolan, but let's look him up next just to make sure. Okay, here's Babe's standard pitching. 18 and 8, 244 ERA, 114 ERA plus, 281 FIP. Yeah, it's strong, but I think this is another example of like we know he goes on to be a great player. Check out this second year season though, 23 and 12, 175 ERA. And let's check out his batting in 1916 too. He might be a second year team guy. 1916. Well, his batting takes a dip, but I think putting him as a pitcher on the second year team makes sense. So I'm just going to make a note of that. And then, yeah, let's look up Hornsby. Rookie limits during 1916. Ooh. 313, 369, 444 for an 814 OPS. Well, he did lead the league in OPS his second year, so let's keep him in mind for that second year team too. Let me see his games by position. Mostly third base. I think you can make an argument that we can count him at shortstop with 47 games. So third base. Oh, that Dick Allen rookie season is pretty solid. So yeah, sorry, I'm down here. Um, I don't. I think I'm keeping Dick Allen there. Um, I'm feeling pretty good about this roster. I think Oliva's out. Other than that, I think this is remaining intact. Um, if anyone else has any batters, especially like pre 47, oh, did we look up Ty Cobb? Oh man, '07 is great, but I want he hit his limits in '06. I'm sure. Let me exceeded rookie limits during his '05 season. This is a second year team guy for sure. Oh wait. What year was it? '05. So '06 is the second year? '05, '06. Oh, he might still be a good he might still make the second year team. It's a bummer that that '07 season isn't his second year. So I'm adding Ty Cobb to the second year list as a maybe. Oh, sorry, I keep forgetting to switch back. This is what I was looking at. So, according to Baseball Reference, he hit his rookie limits in '05, where he hit 238. So his second year was '06 when he hit 316, not his '07 season where he hit 350. So I don't think he makes the cut for the. He doesn't make the cut for the rookie team. He may not make the cut for the second year team, but yeah, I'm just wondering. Oh, I also wanted to look up Mike Schmidt. I don't know what his rookie season looked like. Well, here's a second year guy. His rookie season. So again, I'm always amazed when I learn this stuff. His rookie season, he hit 196, and then his second year led the league in homers, led the league in slugging percentage, 941. So I think he's a good candidate for a second year team, Mike Schmidt. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty comfortable with this roster now. If I have to make a cut or two to get us to 25, I will do that. Tonight, I will look up all the BREF numbers and put the text file together. And then on my next stream, I will actually pull the players in and we will run the sim. The other question for you guys, it'd be great to get answers tonight, but also I don't mind getting answers over Discord or Whispers over the next day or two. Is when we do these teams, like the all rookie team, all second year team, what run environments should we send them to? So I definitely want to send them to 2023 because I just want to see how they do against like all the current players that we know. Um, and love the idea of replacing the A's in 2023 with them. But then, like, what are the other years that are interesting to send them to? Like, I thought maybe 1927, so they can play against that Yankees team. Um, but yeah, was curious to know like if other people have thoughts on like, oh, definitely do this season because of like whatever. Um, so any thoughts on that would be great. And again, it doesn't have to be tonight. But and even doesn't have to be for the next stream because I think the next stream will do 2023 for sure. Um, but any thoughts on that would be really appreciated. Okay. I think that's it then for tonight. I think pulling the BREF numbers, since we have to do it by URL, it's going to be pretty tedious, and I don't want to just kind of do that in the stream and then finally start the sim in like half an hour. So I think I'd rather just do that offline and do it next time. Um, so unless anyone else has any other names they want to add or want me to look at, or have any final comments on how this roster is shaping up, I think I'll call it a night and look for someone to raid into. So let's see who's streaming OOTP 25 right now. D Block, it's still way too early to stream into you, right? Or to raid into you. No one is streaming OOTP 25 right now. So I think that means I'm supposed to raid into Alf, right? You stream at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, okay. I cannot vamp that long. Um, is it just Alf that people stream into? Is it just ALF? All right. Well, thanks for your help, everybody. Really appreciate the ideas. Really appreciate everyone being enthusiastic and supportive of this idea. I think it'll be super fun to when it actually happens. And I think when I do these 86 Mets simulations, you know, doing all the kind of looking at the stats and capturing all the postseason awards and stuff, it roughly takes about like 45 minutes to set it up and run it and go through all the postseason awards. So I think we can do like two or three sims when we do it. So that's why I'm looking for suggestions for years. So between now and then, find me, whisper me in a chat somewhere, or message me on Discord. Like, send me your ideas for seasons other than 23, and I'd be happy to add them to the sim. All right, thanks everybody. Let's raid. Oh, I think it's just ALF. All right, here we go. Good night to you, D Block. Have a good stream in the morning. I will probably jump on a little late since I'm on West Coast time, but I'll see you then.